Okay. Welcome back, everyone, to Crisis Talk Live, where we debate, discuss, and dissect the issues affecting Black community. Today, it's just me, and I guess we're just gonna have like a little conversation because I think, yeah, why not? Sometimes, um, like everyone knows what's been going on with the baby and whatnot, so that's gonna be one of the things that we're talking about today. But also just having a little conversation about like life and where people are. Um, so I'll start off with the baby. So for those that don't know, he had a live with his baby mother, and he just kind of like exposed her, and then they've been going back and forth, and like it's brought a lot of discourse on Twitter, and lots of people have had things to say. Um, Sideman put a notes app up, and he was just saying, "Oh, he can't like have sympathy or something because for people that have baby with rappers, popping rappers." He said, and I think one thing I think I'll just say to that I think is that one thing people have had issue with that is him saying that, and I think it kind of takes away the responsibility from the man, from the baby. And I think that that's what the issue is. I think everybody needs to be held accountable here. Um, Even his baby mother, because apparently he said that like she was beating on him, and like he was abused and whatnot. So I think, and then she said that he tried to kick her out of the house with the 3 month old baby. I think one thing that people tend to forget is that two things can exist. So he can be wrong for doing what he did, and she could be wrong for doing what he did as well. They were wrong to each other, if that makes sense. And all of these things are what they have said, and but I'm still going to say allegedly because I wasn't there. But yeah, I think one thing that I've seen, especially within the Black community, is people just being like, "Oh my God, this is happening," and there's the back and forth and of it all. I think when it comes to um, families and children, like it's always important to get the perspective, get what's important, which is the child. And I think everybody here will learn what they need to learn, hopefully, from the situation. Um, yeah, that's it really. With that situation, for anybody that is actually watching, I'm just gonna talk about like things where I'm at, where in life and whatnot. Um, because I think sometimes people just don't get to see that honest and just conversations. Um, so yeah, so I think the thing is, I think as we all grow older, like you kind of have expectations, and then you kind of have like dreams and hopes and aspirations to be something, to be like in a better place, to be in a better job, to be in a better, in relationships, friendships, and everything. Like is just about improving. But I don't think people really talk about like the change that how that change is and how it goes. Because something that one thing that I've been experiencing is just, I guess, that change of like, okay, going into a new age and growing older and growing up on what that looks like, and like letting go of things that are like bad for you, or things that you shouldn't, you know, carry on doing. So, for example, I was late today to do the show because we're meant to start at 7, and I was late, and I was also late for like another job of mine or whatnot. And these are all like, this is all my fault. I take full responsibility of that. I should, like, this isn't anybody else. This is all me. Um and I think that what I'm learning is that letting go of the things that you used to do so that you keep growing can be hard. And this isn't just about being late per se. This is just about growing up and what that looks like, and letting go of the things that you isn't going to help you move forward in life. And I think that's something that I want to say to anybody that is listening, anybody that will watch this later, is that you sometimes in life that the change isn't easy, or like you aren't able to, just adapt quickly. Like it's a process. It's a process. And now one thing I'm learning is that, like, the lessons that you do learn, make sure you actually take them in, and make sure you actually make steps to move forward in the best way possible for yourself. Because at the end of the day, it's only you that you have. And like, I was saying, I wore all black today because, like, I don't know if anybody watches Real Housewives of Atlanta, but like Portia Williams said one time, I'm wearing black to dead these bitches. And I think, like, one thing, this is a I guess representation of, like, okay, you know what, there's some things I need to dead in my life, um so that I can be a better person. And I think everything that we've learned throughout lockdown, throughout 2020, throughout 2021, it's about making sure that I just let go of the things that I can control, the things that I can't control, and just focus on the things that I want to do. Um, and I think that if anybody else is out there feeling like that, or if anybody else does feel like that, I think that it's really important that you have these conversations, even if it's with yourself, um, like this, because I think when you're growing older, you don't really get the moments to just be like, okay, um, let me talk and let me just say how I'm feeling. And it's very confusing. It's not like a thing where it's like, "Oh, okay, yeah, this is how I'm feeling," and then you're able to communicate that. Sometimes it is all in your head, and getting everything that's in your head out there can be hard. Because this conversation that I'm having, I hope it makes sense. I hope that there is some tangible thing that people understand, um, with what I'm trying to say and what I am saying. Because I think it's really important to not just, talk about, oh, okay, the good things or the bad things, but just talk about the things of change. Like, when change happens, what does it look like? Because people just say, oh, you go from one thing to another, and it just happens magically. But I don't think people really give or really talk about what the process of change. And I think that's what a lot of us are experiencing. I know that's what I'm definitely experiencing, that process of change, and being able to realize that I am changing. So that means that because I'm changing, I cannot hold on to the things that I was, if that makes sense. I am not that same person that I was 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 3 months ago, if that makes sense. And I think lots of people are like that. Like, you have to let go of the person that you were so that you can be that better person that you want to be and you hope to be. And that's really hard. And that's what I'm really figuring out right now. And I think that people think that, oh, that it's easy, or that it's not hard. It is. It really is. Um, a show that I watched, and that I feel like really puts this puts it out there, in a visual way, is Gossip Girl. And seeing the change that each of the characters go throughout the series is really, it's really amazing, because you could see that, like, as they were trying to change, they were also grappling with who they was and what that looked like. And for anybody that hasn't watched Gossip Girl, I think that people should really watch it, because it's really about a coming of age story, or even of age story. Because when you are 20, when you are 21, when you are this age, like, it is a total, like, new beginning of who you are. Because, like I said, 10 years ago, I was in high school. And like when I was in high school, I used to think, oh my God, when I'm older, I'm gonna be this, I'm gonna be that, I'm gonna be whatever, whatever. And when now that I'm here, it's like that's just not the case. And I would have I wish that somebody would have told me that. I wish that somebody would have said, okay, when you're 21, like, yeah, you think it's going to be like this, but this is how it's actually going to be. And I hope this conversation, this live, whatever it is, that if whoever is watching, or whenever people see this, that people, whoever sees this, that I just hope that, like, they they understand that, like, you know the expectations that you may have about life, about what you thought would be, what you thought growing older would be, or being older would be, those expectations, they're not necessarily, I just think you should manage them, manage the expectations. That's what I'm saying. Manage the expectations that you have, because the way life goes, and friendships, the way things go, it's not what they necessarily portray. And it's not easy, and change isn't easy. And I think that's just what I am saying here, that like change isn't easy at all. And accepting that, but also being able to make the changes within yourself, that's also hard, because you are only what you know. And if you know yourself to be a certain type of way, and then you have to change that, sometimes that can be very, very hard. um and I think this episode, this part, has just been a sounding board, for me, just to say that this is what it is, and just for me to be like, okay, this is what I'm going through. And I hope that, people that are going through this, or going through this change or whatever, that I just want them to know that, you know what, you know, um, you're not alone, um, and that it will be okay eventually. Because that's something that I know. I know that it will be okay, but I think, by the grace of God, um, but I think that understanding that fully can be quite challenging. Um, and then also, one thing I will also do is, don't allow the fear of change, or the fear of failure, to stop you from becoming who you're meant to be, and stop you from achieving your goals, and the dreams that you wanted the dreams that you dream. Don't do that to yourself. Don't betray yourself like that, because that would be the worst thing ever. So if there is something that you want to do, go and do it. And that might sound so corny or whatever, but you can't be stagnant in life. That's another thing. You just cannot be stagnant. You have to keep on going. Whether you know what you're doing or whether you don't know what you're doing, you have to keep on going. And always, I would say, is put your best self forward. So that's why it's really important not to turn up late. And I need to understand that. Like, that's me. I'm not even talking to anybody else. I'm talking to myself. Like, you cannot be late to things. You just can't be, because then that's not putting your best foot forward in life, period. So yeah, and that's something that I'm definitely going to work on personally, like being earlier, making sure I am on time, and making sure I am not late, because I think it's really important to put your best foot forward. And sometimes things won't allow that, your mental health won't allow that, and our life won't allow that. But when you do have the opportunity, or when you do have the capability to try and do something, always put your best foot forward, and always communicate. Communication is so important. Communication is so important. And that's something that I need to learn, because like I'm always like, because I don't like saying no to people. So if somebody asks me something, I'll always, try and be like, okay, yeah, I can try. But sometimes if it's no, it's a no, and that's okay. And I think that's another thing as well, especially about being a guy, or being a man, whatever that means, is that something that I am learning, or I'm beginning to learn, is that you have to, like, I don't know how to explain it, because I'm not like necessarily the stereotypical guy of like, yo, G, whatever. I don't watch football. I don't, and like, those are stereotypes. I'm not saying all guys do that, but like, one thing I'm learning about masculinity and all of that is that there is a certain element of being a guy where it's just like, you know what, if you're going to say something, say it. And I have no issue saying things. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is that I need to come to a understanding of, okay, this is what I'm saying, this is what I'm doing, period. And this isn't about like what society says, because obviously, like, women can be like that as well. Women can be assertive and stuff like that. I'm not saying that this is just attributes catered towards men. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm just saying, as a guy, figuring that out for yourself, by yourself, can be quite challenging. So Yeah, that's what I mean by that, and I think that that's another thing that I'm learning. Just being like, okay, you know what? This is what I want to do. This is what I can do, and letting everybody else deal with the fact of this is what deal with that fact. Like it is what it is, and then being able to move on, and that all comes down to accountability, which I think some men um, have not been I've not been able to take accountability because it'll be blamed on something else. They would have someone else to take that from them. And that's why I think it's going on with this whole the baby situation as well, is because like and with what Sideman said is that men aren't given accountability when certain things happen. So the baby should be accountable to the fact that he can't just kick out the mother of his child. Like 3 months, like that shouldn't be happening. That shouldn't be happening. I think people can blame the woman, people can blame, whatever. Like, but he did that regardless, or he said that to her. Do I hope what I'm saying makes sense, and that doesn't mean that she should be held accountable for the things that she did to him. But I think that's another thing that people just need to understand, that accountability is something that's really, really important. And that's something that I am work. I have no issue taking about accountability, but I think I I'm very I try to like account for other people. So like I try to be like, oh my god, how would other people feel? How would other people? And it is important to think about how other people feel. And this isn't what I'm about to say isn't in relation to the baby. It's a relation to you, yourself, and you. If you need to, if you can't make something, if you can't like make an appointment, if you can't do something with your friend, with your family, if you can't do that, or you doing that is going to affect you negatively, it's going to affect your mental health negatively, then say then say no, and or just be honest from the jump. And that's what I'm saying. Be honest from from the jump, and make sure that you are crystal clear with what your intentions are and what you want to do. Um, yeah, I feel like that's. I feel like I've said all the things that I really want to say, um, all at once, and I feel like this was just a like of of my emotions. Um, but yeah, that's how I am feeling at this particular moment in time, and I hope some sense can be made from everything that I said. And I hope that, you know, people understand that as you grow older, as you grow up, like it's not all easy. It's not just gonna be like, a bed of roses, as people say. Um and yeah, like this adulting thing is hard. It really is hard. So I hope that people out there listening just understand that. And yeah, I just hope that that's what's understood. um yeah, yeah, I think that's what I want to say on that, really. um Other things that I could talk about today is um so I watch Real Housewives, and I know this is a complete jump, but hey ho. Um, so I watch Real Housewives, and I have been watching the Real Housewives of Potomac reunion, and one thing that I think is really interesting is that there was a conversation about colorism. I'll say this, and then I think then it's over. There was a conversation about colorism within the reunion, and I will say this about Candace. Thank God Candace is married to a white man, and thank God Ashley is married to a white man, because I think like people. This is why. Oh, this is a full circle moment, because we were talking about the first episode of this of Crisis of course is Black Love Political. Um, so thank God she's married to a white man, because I think that If she wasn't, I don't think she would have been on the show. But because look how they treated Monique's husband. Um, but yeah, that's it really. So I hope that everybody has a great day. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And also make sure to just take care of yourself and make sure to say no if you need to say no. And also make sure to turn up to places on time and early. Um, I will see you guys next time with a guest on Crisis Talk Live.